especially to prepare for Sunday morning, I always find it really helpful to read different Bible versions. It's not just to see always the different words, but sometimes there's just something about reading from a particular Bible. I have on the one hand this Bible, which I read all through seminary. And if I go and read through it, I know that it has tons of commentary and insight. And so it's great for wrapping my head around a passage to really understand it. But then, there's this Bible, a bright, flimsy, well-worn Bible that I got in 7th grade from Fellowship of Christian Athletes. I'm particularly attached to this Bible. It's the first one that I ever read straight through. It's the first one I ever dared to write in, and then I just kept writing in it. So like the other one, it's also full of comments and insight. But this one is full of thoughts from my 7th grade self, complete with hearts, stars, and smiley faces. I call it something of an occupational hazard to then read through it in preparation for Sunday. I'm sure if I read through it, I'll be distracted with childish concerns and old memories. With sometimes comments that leave me smiling at my simplicity, and others that leave me just plain embarrassed at how little I understood. So for Sunday worship, it is an occupational hazard that distracts me. Which is why this Sunday, or this week when I prepared for Sunday, I took a deep breath when I went to open this Bible. And I fixed my eyes squarely on the text, certain to not see anything else I had written. But then something remarkable happened. As I opened it and read the passage, I didn't have to concentrate too hard not to see what else was there. There was nothing else there. I had read this passage because all there was were 2 bold underlines in different verses. That was it, no extra comments. All I underlined was this, verse 29. Jesus answered, "The work of God is this, to believe in the one he has sent." Wow, I thought. Maybe my younger self somehow understood this better than I could have known. Even then, I understood that no more comments were needed, no questions, no additional explanation. Just this. The work of God is this, to believe in the one God has sent. Maybe I somehow understood this a little better than the crowd did on that day. In the story, even after they hear this, they continue to ask questions. They wanted signs. They wanted a reason to know they were believing the right way, the right person. Maybe the crowd was used to jumping through a few more hoops. You see, there were laws and rites to be followed. There were signs that needed to come. There were prophecies that needed to be fulfilled. There were things the people needed to do first. Yet Jesus responds again, reassuring them, saying, "I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will never go hungry, and whoever believes in me will not thirst." This is a message of come and believe. That's it. No more hoops to jump through. Just come and believe. But it couldn't possibly be that easy. The crowd sure didn't think so. They just kept asking for more signs. They just couldn't believe it could be so simple as come and believe in Jesus. But I imagine that Jesus' message might be even more difficult for us to hear today, because we too know what it's like to jump through hoops. I don't even mean this in a negative sense all the time. It's just we know what it's like to have to do A, B, and C before you can get on to D or X, Y, and Z. We know we have jobs that require specialized training or education. There's lots of preparation that goes into it, let alone evaluations. And even those that might promise that you can come in quickly and have training on site, there's applications to fill out and interviews to be had. And even when we're young, there are still hoops to jump through. Requirements for graduation, requirements to get a driver's license. Like I said, not always a bad thing. But there's always something for us to do. We even face paperwork when we're born, when we're married, and when we die. Not even living is enough of a qualification for life insurance. Everywhere we look, there are requirements to pass through, preparation to complete. Maybe that's why Nike's Just Do It campaign has become so iconic. How attractive is the thought that we could just do anything? That we could just take a day off or just go on vacation. We could just land the perfect job. We could just spend time with family. We could just volunteer a little more of ourselves. Instead, it seems we need to move heaven and earth sometimes just to free up schedules to just do anything. Is it any wonder then that when we find ourselves often like that crowd? We've already heard the good news. We see the miracle. We know Jesus fed the 5,000. We have experienced the hope of Jesus' love, and yet we still come asking, what else is required of us? What else do we need to do? There must be something more. How often do we turn away in disbelief that the answer could be as simple as this: believe in the one God has sent. It's a sad truth that I see as a pastor, but that I suspect many of you have known either in your own lives or with people in your families and community. We are surrounded by people who won't come to Christ because they feel unqualified. They haven't done enough good yet. They'll come once they've turned their life around, once they've recovered from addiction, once they've gotten back on their feet, once they have something to offer, once they've read their Bibles or said their prayers. Maybe then they'll jump through enough hoops. Maybe then they'll be good enough to be accepted by God. But that's the thing. We recall that the Gospel of Mark tells us that Jesus says it is not the healthy who need a doctor, but the sick. I have not come to call the righteous, but the sinners. The work of God is this: to believe in the one God has sent. Because that's just it. No matter how many hoops we jump through, no matter how many good deeds we do, no matter how much we donate or give of ourselves, we will always be unqualified. We can never do the work of God without Jesus. That, my friends, is the beauty of grace. And that is our good news for today. For the bread of God is he who comes down from heaven to give life for the world. Jesus is the bread of God. Jesus gave his life for the world to give life to the world. It's Jesus alone that qualifies us. We can stop jumping through hoops. We can finally just do it. We can do the work of God when we believe in Jesus. That is the invitation in today's passage. That is the invitation for us all today who hear this message. For those who hear this message for the first time or are new in the faith journey, just remember this is the first and only foundation. For all that is yet to come, first, all you must do is believe in the one he has sent. Believe in Jesus. Changes in what you do or think may follow, and surely they will. But for now, do the work of God and believe in Jesus. To those of us who are a little farther along in the journey, we remember the same thing, the same foundation: believe in Jesus. Perhaps the more significant challenge for those of us who already cling so closely to Jesus is to remember that he alone qualifies us. So our task at hand is to remember that Jesus does call the sick. Jesus calls the sinners. And so the church becomes the hospital. The believers become the first responders. the ones who minister to all those who are sick and broken, to all those who come through these doors. For the church is not for us, the believers, it's for the world. That broken, sinful, scary world. Just as we know that Faith United Methodist Church is not for us, the members, but it's for Brimfield and beyond, no matter how it changes or grows, no matter who moves in or moves away. The work of God is this, to believe in Jesus. And the church is at the work of God when it reaches out and welcomes others, helping them to believe in Jesus too. For Jesus is the bread of God who comes down from heaven and gives life to the world. Let's not let the bread get stale. Let's not keep the bread all for ourselves. Like my 7th grade self somehow miraculously managed to understand, that needs no more explanation. Let's quit jumping through hoops or holding them out for others. It's time to just do it. Let's do the work of God. Believe in the one God.